All right, today we're diving into a real titan of India's internet scene, InfoEdge. But here's the thing. What happens when a giant like that, one that basically wrote the rules for the web in India, suddenly has to deal with a double whammy? We're talking about a shaky economy on one side and the absolute freight train that is AI on the other. And that's really the big question we're tackling here. How does a company with these huge household name brands, a company that's been a market leader for decades, not just survive, but actually thrive when the very ground it's built on starts to shift? So the name InfoEdge might not ring a bell for everyone, but I can almost guarantee you know its creations. This is the company, the powerhouse behind some of the biggest, most dominant digital brands in all of India. I mean, we're talking about absolute household names here. Think about it. Naukri.com for jobs, that's the go-to. 99 acres for real estate, same story. Jivan Sati for finding a life partner, and Shiksha for education. These guys aren't just part of the online market. For millions of people, they are the market. But here's the catch. Being a market leader doesn't mean you're immune to rough seas. And right now, InfoEdge is sailing straight into some pretty serious headwinds. The first big one, a slowing economy that's hitting their main business, recruitment, right where it hurts. And this quote from their own management really says it all. The IT sector, which you got to remember is a massive source of cash for Naukri.com, is getting super cautious about hiring. They're hitting the brakes. And we're not talking about a little tap on the brakes here. This is a serious slowdown, and it's affecting their number one cash cow. So what does that actually look like on paper? Well, it looks like this. Just 7% year-on-year growth on a standalone basis. Now, don't get me wrong, any growth is good, but for a digital powerhouse that's used to seeing those big, flashy, double-digit numbers, 7%? Well, that's a real wake-up call. Okay, so what do you do when your main engine starts to sputter? Do you just wait for better weather? Nope. InfoEdge is doing the exact opposite. They're not just sitting around, they are actively out there, hunting for new engines of growth. And their whole strategy can be summed up in one word: diversification. And you can see it right here. While the IT sector is kind of in a slump, other areas are absolutely taking off. The non-IT sectors, they're chugging along with a healthy 10 to 15% growth. But check this out. The global capability centers, those big offshore hubs for multinational companies, billings there have shot up by nearly 19%. This is proof right here that they're finding new pockets of growth to make up for that IT slowdown. And this strategy isn't just a single idea. It's a three-pronged attack. First, they're pushing beyond the big metro cities and going deep into Tier 2 and 3 areas. Second, they're finally tapping into that huge and honestly often ignored blue-collar job market. And third, they're going premium, building out stuff for really high-end, specialized talent. It's a brilliant move, really. They're covering the entire spectrum. All right, so you'd think a slowing economy is enough to deal with, right? Well, think again. InfoEdge is also staring down a technological earthquake, and I'm talking about AI. This isn't just another hurdle to jump over. This is a fundamental, ground-shaking shift that could literally rewrite the entire rulebook. Just think about how you search for things now. You type a question into a search engine, and what happens? Boom, the answer is right there. You don't even have to click on a link anymore. Now imagine you're a business like Shiksha, whose entire model is built on getting you to click that link to come to their site. Yeah, that's a huge potential problem. And you know what? Credit to InfoEdge, they're not trying to hide from this. They've come right out and said it. Traffic from search engines to their sites, like Shiksha, is down. It's simple, really. Fewer people are landing on their doorstep because the search engine is already giving them the answer at the front gate. But here's where it gets interesting. InfoEdge isn't just sitting there bracing for impact. They're flipping the script. They're taking this thing that looks like a threat, AI, and turning it into a massive opportunity. It's not a disruptor, it's a catalyst. And this isn't just talk. They've got the numbers to prove it. By building their own AI tools, think smarter job recommendations on NAUKRI or way better matches on Jivan Sati, they've jacked up user engagement by a solid 15 to 20%. They're using AI to make their own products stickier and more essential than ever. And I think this quote from the CEO just nails it. They don't see AI as a challenge they need to survive. No, they see it as a powerful tool, a catalyst to drive their own growth. And this really gets to the heart of their competitive advantage, what people call their moat. I mean, sure, a hot new AI startup can pop up with a slick algorithm, but what they don't have are two crucial things that InfoEdge has in spades. One, massive distribution, a huge built-in audience, and two, decades of unique, priceless data. And in the world of AI, data is everything. It's the fuel. That gives them a head start that's just incredibly hard for anyone else to catch up to. So, these two advantages, data and distribution, bring us to our final piece of the puzzle, how InfoEdge is using what they have now to build for the future. They're not just worried about the next earnings call. They are absolutely playing the long game. And you can see this in some of their key businesses. For platforms like 99 Acres and Jeevansathi, the goal right now isn't to make a quick buck. It's all about one thing, market share. They are pouring money in to grab as many users as they can, even if it means burning some cash in the short term. They're betting that dominating the market today will lead to massive profits down the road. So you might be asking, how can they afford to just burn cash like that? Well, it's because their main business, their core, is an absolute cash-generating machine. Just look at these numbers. A net profit margin over 39%, an amazing return on equity. Their financial footing is rock solid. And that strength gives them the freedom to make these big, bold, long-term plays without having to worry about every little dip in the market. When you boil it all down, this has always been a story about connection, right? InfoEdge built its entire empire connecting people to jobs, to homes, to life partners. And now their next big challenge is connecting that incredible legacy to a future that's going to be all about data, all about AI, and all about being able to adapt on the fly. Which brings us right back to the big question. InfoEdge is sitting on two incredible assets, that mountain of data and a portfolio of brands that everybody knows. So the real test for them isn't just about surviving the economic storm or the AI revolution. It's about whether they can actually harness these massive forces, use them as fuel to become even stronger, even more dominant. The real question is, can they take today's biggest threats and flip them into tomorrow's greatest strengths?